I appreciate the transparency and the self-awareness that you're exuding right now. That all you did was showed up at 2 p.m. at the altar.
What time, baby?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Team2MOMS, the podcast. It's been a long time coming, but we're finally, and I do mean finally, doing it. If you don't know, I'm Ebony.
And I'm Denise.
And we are so excited to be doing this podcast.
So if you don't know, we created this podcast to provide a safe space where people can come together and talk about the things affecting our lives. Mostly parenting, relationships, marriage, content creation, career paths, and everything in between. Because age is just a number. And honestly, life really doesn't begin till you turn 30, right?
Girl, it has taken off. Taken off, yeah. So, with that being said, we're so excited to welcome our first guest. You know her for her vibrant fashion, her entertainment, lifestyle, and culture media company that is designed to empower others to dress outside the lines. Please help me welcome Miss Color Me Courtney.
Hi. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you so much for
I'm
being
so excited
here.
to be here.
We're fangirling, first of all.
I mean, the feeling's mutual. I'm a big fan of y'all.
No. Let's take it back. We love your content. We love the positive energy you exude. We love the colors. We love everything that you do.
Well, thank you. And I feel like you guys also do that. You bring a lot of positivity and energy to social media, which isn't always a super positive space. But I know if I go to your page, I will always find that. And not with you don't not keep it real at the same time. It's not phony. It's just authentically positive.
I was thinking the same thing, girl, because I was like, you are who you are in person, you are online, is the same. The reflection of that is here.
We feel your energy. We feel your
It's a good
energy.
vibe. I like the energy here.
Such a good vibe. Well, today, Courtney is here to talk to us all about debunking the idea of finding your internet niche.
Yeah.
Or as you like to say it,
don't niche down, layer up. So we're going to talk all about the truth in finding your niche, when it works, when it might not work, and we're just going to get into that.
Yes. Okay, so let's take the audience to the very beginning. How did we first meet?
Oh, so I think we met in person about a year ago on a Disney trip, which was very, very fun. But I've known of your content for a long time, just through mutual friends, mutual connections. I think that always is a good thing when you find someone online and you're like, oh, I love their content. And then you go tell your friend and they're like, oh, actually, I work with them or I know them. And you're like, oh, it makes sense. We're all in this same
circle.
Yeah.
You have the same energy and thought process.
We find each other.
And some experiences that are the same.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So let's talk about your content.
Yeah.
How did it all start? How did you even start on the internet?
I'll take you back to the beginning.
Please.
Yeah. So I grew up and always wanted to work in fashion, but I decided to be a little bit more practical. I went to business school instead of going to fashion school, just, to have that, to fall back on in case I changed my mind, because I also wanted to be a princess and an astronaut growing up. So, she could have changed her mind.
You still are a princess in my eyes if you want.
Oh, thank you.
We'll get into that. Go ahead.
And so I went to business school, and then I didn't love college. It was a lot of partying, and I'm not really that girl. And so I kind of was I want to get out of here. So I did a fast track of college, and I graduated with my MBA at 21. And so
wait a minute now.
Yeah. I doubled up on all my courses. I took all the summer school. I took the maximum amount of classes you could. I was I want to get in, get out. I want to move to New York. And so I was 21. I moved to New York, and I was I have this MBA. Everyone's going to hire me. No one wanted to hire me. I had business degrees. I was applying for fashion jobs. It just wasn't happening. So I took some retail jobs and was still trying to get into that corporate fashion world and learning what I could from the retail stores. And eventually I was I need to create a presence that kind of shows that I do know fashion and I do know this. And so that's when I had a blog before that I was using for like creative journeys and things like that. Specifically in college, I was throwing themed dinner parties every month. I would throw a new one. And so I was photographing it and sharing that on a blog just so like my family could see, really. And then I was like, okay, what if I just like did this a little bit more seriously? What if I got an Instagram account and did it seriously so I could use it as a portfolio? So I eventually took my MBA off my resume and put my Instagram and my blog as like a creative portfolio to be like, look, here's what I do kind of thing. I can write, I can take photos, I could do all this stuff. And that's what eventually got me like my first job in the corporate fashion world.
Wow.
Yeah. So I did that. I worked in the corporate fashion world for a bit, bopped around, and but at the same time, sometimes you have like this idea of what your dream job is. And to the point where I was like, I want to have this role at this company, and I landed that. And I got there and I was like, ooh, I'm not very good at this. I don't like it. And it kind of felt weird that I had achieved this dream and then it wasn't what I thought it would be. I'm sure you guys have experienced something like that before, or see it with your kids and,
Very much so. I actually have my degree in forensic science.
Oh, wow.
I became a criminalist, which is what you call it in the main field. So I'm working on all these cases, and I literally thought it was going to be like CSI.
Yeah.
The series.
Yeah.
And
it's not. What?
Far
TV lied?
It lied to me, girl.
Yeah, and I have my degree in electrical engineering.
Oh my God.
And I also worked in corporate America, and it was not what I thought it would be.
That's one of the exciting things about meeting creators who kind of got into it after having a career path. There's a lot of kids right now who are like, I want to be a creator. So maybe they won't ever have that journey. But I'm really grateful I did, because a lot of times it comes full circle. Now, like at the time I was working in product development, making bags. Now if I'm designing a line as Color Me Courtney, I'm working with those same people I was once before. And it gives me this like additional insight. So I'm sure that you guys come across jobs or things that you're doing where you're like, oh, I understand where they're coming from. Because of my previous life, So I was kind of living what I call this Hannah Montana life, where I was Color Me Courtney at night and on the weekends, and then I would go to my job during the day. And it was a lot. And also it got to the point where I was like, oh, now Color Me Courtney has grown and I have 2 full-time jobs. And that's not really what I signed up for.
Well, actually, how did you even come up with Color Me Courtney? Because it is a perfect.
Actually, kind of a good story. So I had not a lot of blog readers and like Instagram followers at the time, but I think I started out and I was calling it Courtney's Closet, something, really original like that. And then I was like, okay, I want a new name. I want like something else. Like I had like the dinner parties and stuff that I was doing. So I wanted something that wasn't just clothing focused. I wanted to be a little bit more of a lifestyle name. So I had polled my audience and I had found out like these 3 names and they'd picked which one that it was going to be. I was so excited, went to go buy it, and did not realize at the time that if you told someone what you were going to buy, someone else could kind of swoop
in.
Yeah.
It's so shady.
Yeah. And so I was feeling like naive and upset, and just kind of like in that moment, I came up with Color Me Courtney, and I really wish I could remember why, because there's probably a good reason.
I really want to know, like, are you, like, is it because you had this love and passion for colors?
Yeah. So I think a lot of people ask me that. They're like, oh, like, did you just start liking color
like,
because
was you
of
an
your
artist? Was you
not an artist, not talented in that way, wish. But I've always loved color. Growing up, like my mom would do interior design, so we would change my room a lot, like sometimes twice a year. Like we would do crazy stuff. Like we made like a wall out of CDs. I had at one point
that's
like
awesome.
2 like twin beds, like kind of laid out in like a couch thing. So I think she always gave me the opportunity to play. I also was a dancer growing up, and I quickly realized like the things I liked about it were being on stage and the costumes. Like those are the fun things for me. I was like,
I mean, you were a growing star.
Oh, really? I mean, she had all the foundations in place.
I had stage presence, but that was kind of about it. She couldn't kick high or any of that. But I we would like be rehearsing our dances and I'd be like, yeah, sure. But what are we wearing? This is what I care about. And so those are the things like I was always interested in. Also, like in high school, I would do weird things like dress up in like 80s outfits one day. And people would be like, oh, is it a theme day? And I was like, no, I just like decided for me that we're going to do this.
Yes.
And people were probably like, this girl is so weird. But I think I was never afraid to be weird.
Exactly.
To be yourself.
Be yourself.
Yeah.
Authentically you, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
You actually touch upon this a lot within your content. You're just like,
Yeah.
girl power, be yourself.
Body
Don't be
positivity.
afraid.
All that.
Everything.
Well, so then when I had moved to New York, I think that was like the first time where I actually realized I didn't fit in so much, you know, because I think I had all these tools of like being a dancer or playing. Well, you know, like what do you think people wear in New York? If you had to guess a color, people probably guess black, right? And so, and then even that first experience of like me like showing up like confident, like, oh, I did this work. I got my degree. Hire me. And then people were like, you didn't go to fashion school. You didn't go to school on the East Coast. You didn't do these things. And I was like, wait, what? And so I had those kind of moments that, you know, I think we've all had, and either in our careers or like just in our lives of like, oh crap, I am the odd man out here. So it took me a while to understand that those things that made me different made me special, and those things that were my insecurities were actually my superpower. So I had to kind of go through that a little bit later than I think a lot of people go through it. So that's why I put it so much in my content now, to kind of help people and also really help myself. So.
Oh my gracious.
That's a great story.
And when you touch upon like just embracing yourself and your differences, like I think about the structure of our family.
Yeah.
And those are the same words that we echo throughout our home to our children so that they feel empowered when they leave our house, when they're in school, when there's events such as like father-daughter dance.
Yeah.
And like, my daughter's questioning, well, hey, I don't have a dad.
I don't check this box.
You know, I really don't. But she is at the age where she's very articulate to be like, well, you know, it really shouldn't be called the father-daughter dance. It should be called the parent dance.
Right.
You know?
Because we're still going to show up.
Right.
In our best fits and all that good stuff. But then that lets me tell, when I look at your Instagram feed, I see your brand is on point. So let's talk about the word niche.
Yeah.
How does that word make you feel?
So it's interesting because niche is a word that I feel like is floating around so much in the creator sphere now. I kind of tie this word to TikTok, really, because I feel like when TikTok took off, a lot of people were like, well, how do I grow on TikTok? And the response was find your niche and niche down and all these things. And I think it could be applied to different people, right? If you're a creator starting out and you're like, I don't know what I want to do. I'm interested in this, and this. Yes, maybe pick one, do one, and kind of go from there. I a lot of times treat it like a first date, right?
Yeah, let's talk about it. Yeah.
So, you know, which truthfully, I am engaged to someone I met in high school. So
We're
my
gonna talk
last
about
first
that.
date, I was like
Talk about
14. But, you know, I would assume in the dating sphere, I have no knowledge, but I would assume you don't go on your first date, or even if you're meeting a new friend or in a job interview, you don't tell them everything about you. You're like, maybe I want to lead with one thing. Because a lot of times out of an interaction, we take one thing away from a person. It doesn't mean that there's only one thing to that person, but you kind of want to start with one. And I kind of feel like as a creator, if you're introducing yourself to new people that you want in your community, give them one thing. So for me, the impression is color. That's the first thing I want you to take away, always. So I guess if you wanted to niche me
do it
down.
well.
Oh, thank you.
You do it very, very, very well.
Well, and I would say for you guys, the one thing I want to take away is like family. That's like your first thing. But that's, to me, that's not a niche. That's broad, right?
That's broad. That's life. That's life. Family.
Everyone has family. Everyone has different relationships with family, whether it's a good one or a bad one, whatever. So it can't be that niche down. And so instead of niching down, a lot of times I think of layering up.
Can we say that one more time for the people in the back? Let's say one more
Don't
time.
niche down, layer up.
Yes.
Yeah. So instead of trying to find one thing and filtering yourself down, instead I think of it as the opposite, right? You are all these things. So take that triangle, reverse it. You're going to build that strong base layer. For you guys, it's family. For me, it's color. Then you add a layer on top of it. Mine might be confidence. Yours might be inclusivity, different layers. And then you continue to build up. You can't do it all in the first week, even in the first month. You kind of have to roll it out.
Say that again, because I think sometimes when you have creators that are just starting out, they get very anxious. I'm like trying to put everything out into the universe, and they're just so worried on trying to find their specific voice. So say that part. Well, say that again.
You don't have to do it all to start.
Don't.
Take your time and kind of roll it out. Because you don't want to do it too soon. And if you have a lot of ideas, that's great. You'll continue to have ideas. They're not going to go away. But just maybe introduce one to start and then build on top of it.
We could brainstorm on those ideas.
Yes.
I want to jump into the topic of manifestation.
Yeah.
Because I noticed that there was a post that you recently did, and you just put out all of your things, your goals that you want to do.
Well,
what does that look like for
this
you?
is a great example of layering up, right? So I'm kind of in what I would call my dream layer, or we could even say era, as we're all talking about eras right now.
Courtney, I'm getting goosies talking to you.
So I recently had a big dream of mine that came true. And the reason I think it did is because I wasn't afraid to talk about it online. Like if it didn't come true, that was the worst thing that could happen. It didn't make it worse that I also said it and it didn't come true. I wasn't ashamed to shout it. So I've been trying to talk to people about shouting your dreams, because if you can't say it out loud, if you can't say it to your best friend, how do you expect it to come true? Like, you have to be able to own that, like, not only I deserve this, but I'm confident enough that I'm on the right path, that I'm going to say it out loud, and that I'm also confident enough in myself that if it doesn't happen for whatever reason, that's okay. Fine.
That's okay.
See, cockiness does not equal confidence.
No.
I love that.
Yeah,
you should
they're
be
different.
able to speak up loud about yourself. Go keep, girl. Goosies, let's go. Keep empowering. Let's go.
And I think we live by that as a couple. We put it out there. I remember this situation where we was driving on the highway, and you was like, "We're gonna live in that building."
Yes. See, don't be embarrassed. Own it.
And we did.
Yes, I do remember.
That's a great example.
We lived in that particular building. Yes,
See,
we
you
did.
did it.
Did.
Well, I think it's also important with relationships and to say it at least to your partner. Like, not everyone has to be able to say it on a platform or, post it for thousands of people. That might be too scary for a lot of people, and I get that. But you should be able to tell your best friend or your partner or someone in your life, like, this is what I want. I also think one reason I want people to shout them is there's people along the way who will help you.
Correct.
I think most of mine have come true because I've said, I want this, and then I'll get a message of, oh, I know you want this. Here's how I can help. Or, if you want this, maybe you should do it this way. And I'm like, oh,
wow.
I needed that perspective. And kind of stepping outside of myself really helped whatever dream kind of come true.
I actually need to hear this as well. Because sometimes I'm like, do we put that out into the universe? Do we manifest it out loud? But hearing you talk about it, I'm like, you know what?
I think there's a humble way of doing it. Like, the way she did it, I was just like, wow. I've never thought to do it in that way. And
Talk to me more. You guys say you've never thought about that, but I see how you do it through your children. So maybe you're not explicitly saying it, but you're teaching it, because I watch your children literally get online and say, this is what I want. I don't know if I could do that at your child's age. I'm doing it now as a full-fledged adult, but you're teaching it. So whether you're explicitly doing it or not, you're instilling that.
You are Thank you. These are the words from Color Me Courtney, y'all. I am so honored. Thank you. Talk to me more about your dream layer. What are some dreams that are coming to reality right now?
So currently right now, there's a Color Me Courtney collection in Disney parks. Well, it's actually mostly sold out, so I don't know if it's really there. But for a while, there was a collection I designed inspired by Princess Tiana. So
talk on it.
Yeah, a few years ago, Disney reached out and said, we want to design a line with you. What would that look like? And it really turned out to be just like a dream process and kind of this full circle moment, because actually when I was working in corporate fashion, at one point when I was working for Coach, we were working on the first Disney collection that Coach designed. And I was, again, like very low level, like just the lowest job, mostly like running and getting samples and stuff. And I went home and after seeing some of the Disney samples that we were working on, and I turned on Princess and the Frog because I watch it like once a week. And I was like, oh, that'd be so cool if I could one day have like a Color Me Courtney Disney line. Like, I don't know if they would ever do this. They're just starting to do fashion collabs. Like, I don't know if they'll ever work with an influencer or if I'd ever be worthy of that. But if I did, what would that look like? So I sat down and I drew out like a few pairs of Disney ears. And that drawing is what's currently available in the park.
Wait a minute. I didn't even realize you were part of the design process.
Oh, for my collection?
Yes.
Oh,
like,
yes.
that deep, like, wow.
Oh, no. I've designed, this is the fourth product collaboration I've designed, the Color Me Courtney collaboration. I've designed a line for Rent the Runway.
Yes.
I've designed other lines, but they were so incredibly collaborative and like it was from scratch. There's those ears that I designed 7 years ago are what are in the park.
So they gave you full creative freedom?
Full creative freedom. And
Wow.
I won't even say creative freedom. I would say full collaborative freedom because I also had really amazing partners. As you know, you've worked with Disney. So some of the people who work at the company, they love it. And you could tell. And so it was a really collaborative thing. And I would say, I want this. And they would say, this is what sells well. And then we'd find the medium of what we could bring that was different because that's collaboration, right? And you guys know that you collaborate with other creators. It's creating something that you couldn't do by yourself. I could never design something that would live in Disney parks with Disney IP on my own. Not only is it not legal, but it just wouldn't happen, right? And so they wanted to create something. They can create Tiana product all they wanted. They wanted to create something different from a different perspective. And so then we came together to bring this thing to life.
And take note, she said it's almost sold out.
Yeah.
What was your feeling when you first saw your line? Like,
I definitely cried. It was really kind of a crazy experience because D23 is basically the biggest fan celebration that they have once every 2 years. And so that's when they launched my line there. So I was already going to be there for other things. And then I like walked into kind of this marketplace and saw this collection of everything that I've been working on for years. So of course I was in tears. It was just a crazy moment. But I think the thing that I actually enjoy the most is when I'm in the parks on my own and I see people who have no idea who I am or they have no idea who I am and they're wearing my collection. And I just like, or watching them like, oh, look at these ears. And I'm like, that's special that it transcended. It's not about me. It was about like their love for this product. And that was really cool to see.
And when I saw you launch it, all I was thinking was like, the amount of representation of seeing a woman of color work with such a huge company.
Right.
What you're saying to people like my daughter and all these other kids, like, you dream it, it will happen.
Yeah. Well, that's what I hope. And because there were people who did that for me, right? Yeah. Growing up, you would see people on TV and that's why you felt like you could do these things. Correct. And so you just hope it gets more and more ingrained to where, you know, in a few generations, the girl who looks like me growing up never questions. Like she always feels like she's worthy and she always feels like she belongs. That's what we're working towards.
Correct. And this goes back to again about niching down versus layering up. Girl, you are layering.
You are layering.
Well, because Disney is one of my layers, right? And I actually created a whole specific layer. Yes. Really, like I have a second Instagram page called Color Me Magic and it's all Disney and it's all really about celebrating creators of color in the pop culture space. And so I created that layer. But if I was only a Disney account, do we think I would have gotten this opportunity?
Correct.
Probably not. Yeah. Because they wanted someone that brought a fashion expertise, a color expertise, a confidence expertise. So those different layers were able to help me achieve that dream. If I was just one thing, I don't know if I'm as desirable as a collaborator. Because Disney doesn't need someone to bring Disney. They already are the Disney.
They already are Disney.
They needed someone to bring something else.
So you mentioned earlier about a partner. Let's get into that. What's your like relationship status?
Yeah, so I've been engaged. My relationship status is
single, married, undecided.
I mean, The audience
It's
may not know.
That was cute.
Are we going together or are we just going? Going, okay. So my relationship status is I've been engaged for a while. We had to cancel a wedding because of the whole panorama, you know. But we're not in any rush because we met in high school. So we've been together pre-Color Me Courtney. My partner, Paris, who now works on the Color Me Courtney brand as well as he has his own stuff. And yeah, it just kind of works out. How about you guys?
We've been married for going on 13 years, but legally 12 years.
Oh, nice.
Because the laws had changed.
Yeah.
But you talk about your layers.
Yeah.
Is one of those layers family?
Yeah, definitely. So I think as you grow, you want to introduce kind of some family into your life. Or, you know, for you guys, you made it your base layer.
Yeah.
Because that's your whole thing.
Correct.
And then you add on top of it. For me, it started out with being color. And then I started to like incorporate more layers. As like, as you get to know me, I'll share more about my family. I'll include my partner and stuff, things like that. But truthfully, that's the thing that most people have, right? Almost everyone has a relationship or has been in a relationship or wants to be in a relationship. Those are like those common things that bring us together. So I think if you can include those things in your content in a way that you're comfortable with, it's not for everyone. You know, some people maybe have partners who don't want to be on camera and then it's not really an option.
What about your partner? Does he want to?
Oh, yeah. So my partner, Paris, he does behind the scenes, like he's pretty much taking most of my photos and videos and stuff like that.
Which are exquisite.
Oh, thank you.
There's definitely talent there.
But then he is in some content too. So it's just kind of like what he's up for, what he's comfortable with. We kind of always have to have a conversation before. Like, hey, do you feel like being in this video today? Or like, hey, I'm doing this for a brand. Do you have any ideas? And just make it as collaborative and really fun as possible. But I always like to talk about like this idea of like an Instagram husband or Instagram boyfriend that exists on social media, because a lot of people will be like, oh, I wish my partner did that, or I'm trying to train my partner to do that. And the word I have a problem with there is train. Because you know, one thing that worked with Paris is before he was always interested in broadcast journalism. He was interested in photography. So he was interested in these sort of things before. And so then when I started doing it, it made sense. Like there was a long time where I was doing tripod photos like on my roof and they were not good. And then because we were long distance for I think 4, 5, or 6 years during a period of time, we went to different colleges and stuff.
Long distance relationships can work.
Yeah. Well, I think we kind of were like, oh, you're going to go do your thing. I'm going to do my thing. And then like we'll come back together and see if it works out and kind of go from there. And then we kind of had this like moment of like, oh, we've been together now for a long time, but we haven't been in the same zip code for a while. So we have to kind of like almost start over and kind of see if we still like each other when we actually see each other every day, kind of thing. And so there was a process of me figuring it out on my own and then being like, oh, this is now a collaboration, right? You're bringing an element that I could not do by myself. I'm in front of the camera, which otherwise you wouldn't have someone in front of the camera, and let's create something better together, but not in a way that I'm forcing you to take my photos, because I don't know if that would work out.
That's beautiful.
So
that is a great partnership right there. And I see him right now behind the camera, and I'm just like, he is a supportive king over there. Let me just say that. All right, supportive king over there. Yes. You two are absolute. Oh, I love you guys both. Oh my goodness. So let's talk about advice to creators who are starting out.
Yeah.
How did you figure out, or what advice would you give when you want to start off with your base and then add your layers? How did you figure out? How do you help figure out that base?
So find that thing that you want people to know you for. Like if they know one thing about you, what is it? For you guys, it's family, right? What's the one and it's in your name too. TEAM2MOMS. Done. Yes. You told me me a lot, right? You told me that you guys are a family, you're a team, that there's 2 of you, that you're moms, that you're a family. Done. Easy.
She understood the plan.
Find that one thing, and if you can find a way to tell people up front who you are, I think that's helpful too. I know that there's a lot of people who will just build around their name specifically, which I don't think is a bad idea. I kind of tried to do the hybrid, right? I want you to know my name, but I also want you to know what I'm about. Color me Courtney. Color Courtney. Good. Done. You took it away.
There you go.
Just like you guys. You know who you are, but you also know what you're about.
Yeah.
Kind of in a name. So I think if you can find that one thing that you want to be known for and push it heavily, then you can kind of start to build from there and then build your layers up.
Oh.
Can we talk about following and numbers?
Yeah.
And how that impacts mental health?
Oh, yeah, sure. We can.
Sometimes people focus on the numbers too much. And
Especially when they first start off. They're very
Yeah.
discouraged to continuously upload content. Like they
Exactly.
worked really hard on something and then they upload it and it gets like one view and then they're discouraged and feel like they need to
discouraged.
pivot in a different direction. What advice do you have for?
So likes are applause.
Ooh.
If you would do it without applause, then you can't be worried about if it's a loud applause
wait
or
a minute,
low
wait a
applause.
So
I often say, like, we can go back to the dancer example. I was a dancer before. I dance now in my room. No one sees me. I have the time of my life. It's not good, but I love it. If you would do it without anyone watching, or then the audience is just there. Maybe it's more fun to dance on the stage when people are watching, but I also dance in my room, right? So you have to make sure that whatever you're creating is something that you would do without the audience, without the applause. Because if you're just here for the applause,
say it.
it might get into a hard cycle because there's going to be some days that not because of you, because of outside factors, because of an algorithm, because something's going on in the world, because the person on the phone is just having a bad day, that they're not going to applaud. But that doesn't mean that what you're doing isn't valid or needed or worthy.
It's much needed.
But if you're only doing it for that applause, it's going to be really hard to keep doing it, you know? So I just kind of think of it that way. And I would say the thing that you can control, you can't control how many people are following or unfollowing you or liking your content or things like that or sharing it. You can't control it. Yeah, there's hacks. There's like ways that you can make things more like clickbait and things like that. But the thing that you can control is the brand that you build.
Yes.
The thing that you want to say. And I don't have the biggest following. There's a lot of creators with much bigger followings than me that maybe haven't gotten the same like collaborative opportunities that sometimes I have or another person who've built a really strong brand has, because that can shine through. And sometimes that matters more than a like count. Because if you have something strong to say and you've built a strong brand, then you become a brand that someone else can create a co-brand with, and you become something that you can create and collaborate around. So I think the only thing that you can focus on is the thing that you can control, which is your own brand, and then put it out there and see who responds to it.
And another thing you can't control is negative comments, right?
No, not at all. Well, here's the thing. I don't mind a negative comment. All I see it
Get into it.
the opposite of love isn't hate.
Yeah.
It's indifference.
Yes.
So if you comment,
I don't know if
have
anybody's
so
keeping
much-
track of the gems that Courtney is
just
dropping.
like a talking fortune cookie, it's sounding really
You
good.
need to run and trademark everything, because girl, I'm about to take a piece of that pie right there.
It's a book.
Well, thanks.
Yes.
Coming soon. Just kidding.
Speak on it.
Well, yeah, because I think there's very few like celebrities or characters or TV shows or movies or anything that I hate. There's a lot that I forget that they exist.
Yeah.
But if it bothers me, if it like keeps me up at night, even in a negative way, I'm like, wow, they're doing something right. Because they made it stick with me. I don't like it, but I'm thinking about it. So if my content did that, which it's not, I don't try to do like negative things. There's a lot of things that you can do specifically on kind of like TikTok where you can gather a lot of attention or controversy, and you can go about it in a negative way. Sometimes people go about it in a positive way, and to each their own. Everyone can do what they want. That's not what I'm trying to do. So if whatever I did that was supposed to be positive resulted in your negative response, all I took that as is, you're obsessed with me, and I'm doing something right. Exactly. That's literally what I sing when I read these comments. I'm like, you're obsessed with me. Paris is laughing at me. Yeah, I'm a bad singer. I mean, I can sing. It's just not good at all. But yeah, I read it, and maybe it's something wrong with me, truly. But if someone's like, you're pretty annoying, I'm like, oh, you think I'm pretty. That's what I took. Like, you're so obsessed with me that you took the time to comment. Yes. So I did something right. I stopped your scroll. Yes. I broke it up and I gathered your attention. And I'm sorry if I made your day worse, because that was not what I was trying to do. I was trying to make it better. But either way, I know that whatever I did here gathered attention and it worked. So then hopefully it also gathered the attention of someone who is going to like it. And that's all you can worry about.
See, I'm gonna like rewind this segment right here for our daughter. So Olivia's 11. She's really into social media now. And we, for a very long time, kind of like sheltered her from the commenting aspect of being on social media.
Well, see, this is a whole different ball. Like, I can sit here and be like, say whatever you want to me. It won't bother me. I'm an adult. It doesn't bother me. But it's different when it's your child who's still trying to figure out who they are and going through it publicly. And then people are commenting on whatever they were in this moment.
Correct. And Olivia's already like charged up to like respond. And we're like, wait a minute.
She gets super passionate about anything regarding our family.
She is very, very passionate.
Which I've been there. I've been on the internet for a while, so I have felt that. I have responded. One time I did respond. The person then came back and apologized.
Really?
And I didn't respond negatively. I was just like, hey, like, this isn't cool. You're not allowed to say this to someone, because if you said it to someone else and it really hurt their feelings, like, I wouldn't be okay with it. And a lot of times, I would say 9 out of 10 times when I respond like that, the thing that comes back is, I'm sorry, I was having a bad day, or this, like, I misunderstood, or it was about me, it wasn't about you. And so I've taken that knowledge into all the other comments, and then sometimes felt the need that I don't need to respond, or a lot of times if I'm feeling feisty, I take it as a challenge.
We do get those moments of
we feel like we have built a thicker skin throughout the years when it comes to comments. There have been times where we've like it's affected us.
Well, again, it's very if someone's like, your dress is ugly, to me, I'm like, no, it's not. If you're like, if someone's saying something about your family. That's very personal. It's it's so much harder to just be like, why are you so obsessed with me? You know, it's a different ball game. So it's very different for different people. Everyone's situation is going to be different. How do you guys handle that with your family?
For the most part, we feel like we are very blessed for the community that we've built. We have a village, a tribe. You know what they say? It takes a village to raise your children. So if there are moments of comments that are negative, our village.
I feel the same way.
Our village goes.
They will attack
That's because you created a positive atmosphere. And so the person there who's spewing negativity, they're just in the wrong place.
Correct.
You know, you just showed up on their feed. It wasn't for them, and they felt the need to tell you it wasn't for them.
Correct.
And the people that it was for, we'll get to them.
Courtney, I can sit here and talk to you for hours. Like, you're literally like a bottle of wisdom that I just want to like take and like pocket it right here and have it with me everywhere we go. But we want to play a little game with you. It's going to be different for this episode. Usually we do something where it's what our kids taught us. But I know that's one of your layers in the future. So we'll swing back around for that game. We will swing back around. But instead, we're going to play a little game of this or that with you.
Okay, let's do it.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Right, let's do this.
Bad haircut or bad dye job?
And why?
I mean, I would say probably bad haircut, because hair grows back, and just buy a wig.
Right?
And rock it.
Rock it.
Who said it's bad? It might be great.
That around, right? Right. Somebody's going to be like, that's a great haircut.
But, you know, if you get a bad dye job, it might like burn. There's chemicals involved.
Damage.
You could just cut it off. I think if you had a bad dye job, it might result in a haircut anyway.
Right? LA or New York?
New York.
Yes!
I like to walk. I am not a good driver. I was meant to be driven, I say. And so
you and me both. Girl, girl.
Ride in the car, control the music.
Yes,
I will
am
not tell you the
passenger princess
directions.
right there.
Exactly, that's me.
Yes, I love to drive.
Like, just based on that, New York, I love Broadway, so New York,
Yes.
and I like having seasons.
We're biased because we're born and raised in New York.
Yeah.
So
Bronx in the house.
BX in the house representing the boogie down. So yeah. All right, let's go for the next one.
Hang out with little kids or old folks?
Ooh, I could go either way. I think you learn so much.
Much,
do.
right?
Folks, you know, it's really fun. But you learn so much from little kids
Yes,
too.
you do.
So I just am always down for anyone's different perspective, I think. I
love
recently we took my nephew to Disneyland for the first time, and it was just like so fun to see it through their eyes. So like that was like a fun memory. So
Yeah. I love that answer. I'm gonna go with both too.
Oh, right.
We have little ones, so no matter what, we can't turn
Yeah,
that off. We
you're
gotta
always
hear
with
And the
everything.
things that come out their mouths.
it probably
Yes.
depends on the day for you guys, right?
It
You're like, some days I
does.
don't want to be around the little kids. I need some grown people.
You know, some days we need that mute button, but
Yeah.
it's okay. It's all right. Would you rather this or that? Pause time or rewind time?
Ooh, this is tough because I feel like there's a lot of things I would like to tell previous Courtney.
Ooh, talk about it.
Yeah, but you know, you went through it to get where you are now. I don't know. I don't want to do either. I just want to continue to grow and get better and evolve. I think if I was stuck here, like I'm already here. I want to go and see where it goes from there. And as much as there's things that happened before that I would probably want to change, you can't. So, and it all happened for a reason because I'm here where I am now. So
Agreed.
neither.
Yes.
Neither.
Right.
Rich and famous or rich and unknown?
Ooh. Well, I don't necessarily do what I do for the quote unquote fame. Like it's a fun thing because I get to meet and interact with other
Correct.
people.
Yes.
But I guess probably
Agreed.
rich and unknown is maybe the best situation ever.
Right.
You just can go to the grocery store
Yes.
and like not be cute and no one will notice you. Like
Correct.
That's
sounds like a good
true.
thing. But I think if I had to give up like my community in order to get that, like then you go with rich and
With
famous.
famous.
Because you're not going to give up your
Yes.
tribe.
No,
You just
not
talked about all this
community.
wonderful community you built.
Yeah.
You don't want to
Rock
give
with
them
us.
up. So yeah, like I don't mind being approached. I always love when I get to meet someone that I've talked to online because it's a lot of, I'm sure you feel the same. It's a lot of you talking at your screen and you never know who's actually listening.
Listening, and then when
So.
you meet them out, when your day-to-day life, it is just the most humbling experience. Like we had just went on spring break. We were, out and about in Florida, and we met so many of our internet family.
That's so nice.
It
It
was
motivates
bananas.
us to keep doing what we're doing, to be honest.
Does most of your internet family, do they have families of their own? Or are they kids? Or it's everyone?
It's just a
It's-
variety.
yeah, that's
It was all
nice.
age from
Yeah.
like Olivia, the Gen Zers,
Yeah.
and the Gen Alphas, all the way up.
I'm a
It's-
fan of Olivia.
Oh, thank you.
I'm not Gen Z.
Thank you so much. All right, here's a tough one.
Uh-huh.
TikTok or Instagram?
Ooh, well, I started on Instagram, so that would probably be like where my allegiance is to, but I love TikTok. I don't think it has to be either one. It's a hard thing about being a creator is like there's always a new app. Like even now there's new ones and we're supposed to like jump on board and get involved in them. But probably, truthfully, if I had to pick one, not even between the two, I'd probably go back to beginning and say Pinterest.
Ooh,
I love Pinterest. Your
okay.
content lives so long on Pinterest.
See, I don't know nothing about the Pinterest world.
Yeah, mine was sadly hacked and it's kind of gone now. But yeah, I've been on Pinterest for like 12 years.
No
way. Yeah, even
Oh.
before I was coloring Courtney and stuff. But I just love how content lives for longer there. And I feel like Pinterest is true creating content without applause or an audience. Like it just feels like you're just putting it out there and you don't know who's gonna do it. So I think if you're a creator who's having trouble with like the likes and like that kind of
Yes.
vibe of it, maybe try Pinterest. It feels a little less personal.
Personal.
Yeah.
Love that.
Love that.
What are you guys? TikTok or Instagram? Or I guess YouTube or
We're for all the platforms because
Yeah.
honestly, it's a tool to help us get a message out there, to help empower, to help inspire. Our mission has always been to inspire our youth of the LGBTQ plus community to know that it's possible to have a family. And each of these platforms kind of gives us that tool to be able to spread that message. So we're for all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
What
it's
about,
amazing
like,
how the culture is really different on each.
It's very different. I think
on each
that's
platform.
that's a problem that I've even fallen trapped to. If you treat them the same, you won't have the same success. You post the exact same video, the exact same time, and it hits on one and it doesn't on the other. So you have to treat them a little bit differently. What about like in your personal use? Like if you're like leaving the creator life behind, just like which one that you're looking on to like just scroll aimlessly, where do you go?
Our
Or does
home
it
base,
depend?
like, so your home base is Instagram. Our home base is
It
Pinterest.
depends. Well, it really just depends on what I'm looking for, truthfully. So it's hard to answer like a absolute question. Like
it is.
yeah, sometimes I feel like TikTok is more I see outside of my community. It's more I get more of a view of like what other people are doing, whereas Instagram I'm mostly only seeing the people I follow. So it just depends on what I'm up for. If I want to like catch up with my creator friends and see what they're doing.
Correct.
If I go to TikTok, I won't find them unless I'm searching for them, you know.
It depends on the mood.
But sometimes I'm like, oh, I want to see what's going on, what people are doing outside of me.
Yeah.
So we have time for one more. So we're gonna do. Would you attend the party or host the party?
Ooh, host immediately.
Really?
I get to control
you
the
used to, like,
theme. I want to control mostly the theme. Everything else I don't care about. I want to control the theme.
And I bet it's super colorful.
Yeah, always. Yeah.
I don't know. I'd rather attend because I don't got to worry about cleanup or anything. I show
I didn't say
up
I would
and
clean.
I walk out. All right? I am done with the party. Have a great night, everybody.
No, I
I'm
like the
joking.
prep. Like, I think that's all fun. I don't like the cleanup, and it probably will like sit there for longer than it should. But I like the prep of like figuring it out. Yeah.
I want to go to a Color Me Courtney
We
party,
should have
please.
a party. Yeah.
Like,
I think I want to have. I had a Barbie
wedding,
birthday
you know.
party. A few. Yes, you'll for sure
the
be
wedding.
there.
Just do my plugging for my invitation right now.
Have Olivia on flowers.
You know.
Are you gonna decorate your wedding? Like, are you gonna? Be in control of that?
So I've kind of planned 2 and canceled 2 at this point. Yeah. So, but I want to do it. We just kind of had been waiting until I was like excited about it again because I was like, oh, like, you know, there was like so much fatigue from like doing it and canceling, and then also making sure it was like safe enough for like people to travel and come and like that whole thing. And then like work stuff gets in the way and I'm like, oh, we have to wait until we have time to do it again. But yeah, I'll do most of it, but I'll definitely have a planner too because you know, there's a lot of stuff I won't know.
fun.
Did you guys plan yours or?
See, now weddings back when we got
I just
married.
attended.
You just attended. You rolled up.
You know, I appreciate the transparency and the self-awareness that you're exuding right now. That all you did was showed up at 2
I was
p.m.
like,
at the
what
altar.
time, baby?
Yeah.
Wow. All
The
right.
weddings were very. There wasn't even like social media like that back then.
You guys could do like a vow renewal at like
Yes.
15.
So we were supposed to.
Oh, yeah,
At
at
10
10.
years, and then Ponderosa came.
Now
Well,
we
who
gotta
says
wait.
you have to wait till like a specific number? Like 13 is a cool number. Do 13.
You know,
You're so right.
we are.
You're right. This has been time has flown by.
Yeah.
I cannot believe we're wrapping up right now. Like I can sit here forever again and
We'll have to
talk
do it
you.
again.
This was a great conversation.
This was a really good. I
know, I
hope
love
you
you
guys
guys.
also learned so much. But I would love to know, where can everybody find you?
Oh, so I'm easy. It's Color Me Courtney everywhere. And then I also have a second page on some accounts called Color Me Magic. But yeah, if you start at Color Me Courtney, you can find me there.
Awesome. Go head over to her. And if you want to find us, you can find us everywhere at Team2Moms and on Twitter. Our original name, Olivia, has 2 moms. So yes.
I love that.
All right, so we're going to wrap it up now, guys. If you want to see more of this podcast, make sure you check it every Monday. You comment, you like, and subscribe on
on the Past Your Bedtime YouTube channel or anywhere else that you listen to a podcast.
Yes. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Courtney, so much for being here with us. We're so excited. Yay. Bye, everyone.